What's going on, internet? nerdlocker.com back with this week's comic book reviews, and I'm starting off with Forever Evil number 5. Last issue we saw the return of Sinestro to Earth because somebody, Batman, used his one of his yellow power rings, and this whole first half of the issue is just villains throwing down. Sinestro is the most aggressive I've seen him in a very long time. I mean, he's always been that character, but he rolls up on Power Ring, some stuff happens, that's all I'm going to say, but because of that, something bigger has happened. This is a lot of stuff happens in this, and I can't give it all away because I want you to read it, and I want you to be surprised, so I can't tell you exactly what happens in this issue. I will tell you there's a cool conversation between Batman and Sinestro, with Sinestro being like, dude, you thrive off of, scaring people. Like, you could be such a good member of the Sinestro Corps and you're just afraid of that power, but whatever, you're lost, Batman. But I'm loving this issue. I really am. I know the next one is supposed to reveal the fate of Dick Grayson. We'll see what happens with that. But on top of all the villain fighting, you really see Batman out of his element. He's trying to do something, and he just is so headstrong and so set in his way that you don't really realize that he kind of doesn't realize that he isn't on top anymore. There's other stuff going on, and he's in no position to make these calls. But either way, this is a great story. This is my favorite. I'd say this is one of my favorite storylines of the New 52 involving everyone. So I'm giving this issue 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey guys, this week I got a chance to read Miss Marvel number 1, which of course is a reboot of the book as well as the character. This book follows Kamala, a Middle Eastern woman, or teenager actually, with a Middle Eastern family, but she's actually from New Jersey. She's born and raised in New Jersey, but her family is Middle Eastern, so she has that influence in her life, and all the special holidays and the special foods and all the rules that they have to follow by. In this book, really, it has a lot of that part of it, and not so much the superhero stuff. It's about this little girl who really just dreams to be a normal girl, or more specifically a superhero, which is more normal in her life because she's in New Jersey where she sees it left and right, and she just wishes she wasn't Middle Eastern. In my eyes, I feel like this book was kind of like big with a female character. I liked it a lot. I do like to see where it's going, but at the end, how she changes into Miss Marvel is very, very unclear. I want to see where that goes, so I'm going to give this book 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Check it out.
Alright guys, I got to read Batman Black and White number 6 this week. It's the last one of this little series that was going on. A bunch of little short stories, all self-contained, just kind of telling cool little things about Batman with a ton of cool different artists. I actually reviewed a couple of these already. This one was really good though. We had some really awesome stories from Cliff Chiang, Dave Johnson, which was really like, whoa. Like, just came out of nowhere, kind of shocked me on how crazy it was. Becky Cloonan drew one that Ollie Moss actually wrote. I mean, there was a lot of really good ones in this one in particular, and I really enjoyed it. Most specifically the Adam Hughes one, just because it's Adam Hughes, features Catwoman. It's really awesome, hits like close to home for Batman. Just really cool seeing a bunch of different artists do a bunch of different takes on this awesome character. I hope we see more of this with other characters. It works pretty much well, like perfect for Batman, but I think it would work really well for other characters as well. So let me know what you guys think of this book. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey the nerds, Jim here with my comic reviews of the week, and first up I have Punisher number 1. Now I'm going to be honest with you, I have never read a single solo issue with the Punisher. I've seen him in team-ups with Wolverine, Spider-Man, Daredevil, basically just about everybody you can think of, but I've never read a solo of his. Never. So figured why not? It's number 1. Let's jump on. It starts sort of like you would expect. I'm thinking, because I know his origin, I'm thinking origin story, cool, but it's not. It goes right into who Frank Castle is, and there's violence right away, brutality right away. It's cool, it's interesting, and then we see him in everyday life. Cool, interesting, but I'm afraid if you don't know who Punisher Frank Castle is, you might not know what's going on. That being said, I don't know how you could not know who the Punisher Frank Castle is. So it's this weird toss-up. Yeah. What's great is there is a nice twist at the end already that we're going to see Frank is going to have a lot of problems, and it looks like it's coming from the U.S. government, which is very interesting. I think this is going to be very compelling. I'm curious to read more. I think the first issue was getting us in with his known violence, that we know what Punisher is, and trying to get us there. So I wasn't that high on it because we didn't have that much character development. But again, it's the Punisher. Deal with it. I am excited to read number 2, so I'm going to go ahead and give this one 3.5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, guys, I got to read Wolverine number 1. This is still a continuation of the last storyline, The Killable, with Paul Cornell, which is just weird. I didn't feel like a number 1 was necessary. I will say this is a totally different Wolverine than we're used to. He still does not have his healing factor, and that's addressed big time in this. There's a lot of things that, you may see the cover, it's a little misleading, which you see on the first page there. It's not the Wolverine we're used to. I'd say, like, with the role Wolverine has right now with the X-Men, you know, leading one side of it while Cyclops has the other, this is a very interesting direction to take Wolverine in his solo title. So, I mean, I'm on board. I think it's cool. This is a great first issue, and it really does fully tell you what's going on, but just the things Wolverine's doing, especially with Nightcrawler coming back from all new or Amazing X-Men, and just a lot of the things that are happening. I just don't understand why he's doing this or why they're doing this. I'm gonna give it a shot. Like I said, this is a really good first issue, and I will continue checking this out for the time being. But I'm more interested to see where this goes. So I'm just going to give this 4 to 5 Nerd Skulls. Let me know what you guys thought.
All right, guys, I get to read Wolves of Summer number 6 as well. And this has been a really interesting story of redemption, revenge, making things right. It finally ends. I'm pretty sure it ends. It doesn't seem like it's going to go anywhere else from here. And it actually ends in a really cool way that you don't expect. Kind of things coming full circle, which is kind of like a theme within this book. But pretty much the main character kind of goes through with what he's been trying to do this entire time, kind of realize who he is, what's been going on, why he's doing this, and it takes a little bit of a twist, and you're like, oh, what? But of course it doesn't go down that road because that's too dark and depressing, and it actually ends out really well and kind of positive, but in a cool, badass way. So I gotta appreciate that. I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls because damn, it was good and the whole series was good, and these guys need to write more books, straight up, because the art's pretty dope. So anyways, check it out.
So I also got to read Terminator Salvation, The Final Battle, number 3. Huge fan of this. I really like where J. Michael Straczynski is taking this story and taking Terminator, because we haven't seen a Terminator story in a long time. We pick up with Dr. Kogan. She's sort of giving a rehash of how she's dying and the process they're going through to make her live longer, which is very interesting, but science. Let's get on some battles. So we go back into the past, and we have the Terminators who are trying to track down the serial killer, Thomas Parnell, to save him, which we now know is what's going on with Dr. Kogan. And we have Simon, also in the past, who's trying to kill, or at least capture, apprehend, I think kill, the serial killer, Thomas Parnell. So you have this going on in the past. I'll be honest, it kind of lasted a little long, and it's going on and on, but that's okay because I really like the story. Flashback to the future, and essentially it looks like John Connor has succeeded in blowing up Skynet. At least he thinks so. What we know from the previous 2 issues is that, no, there's more going on, there's more to it. Skynet, the Terminators knew this was the plan, so they had something going on. So I'm very curious to see where this is going. I love the build-up. I love the setup. Yeah, the story's a little slow now. We have 12 issues, and we're getting sort of in the middle. We had the highs, now we got to get to the lows, so I'm A-okay with that. I'm going to go ahead and give this one 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, I got to read Detective Comics number 28. This is part 2 of the Gothopia storyline. Basically, what the last issue told you is that all of Gotham is under Scarecrow's control, and everyone's seeing it as this great utopia. I mean, Batman was Batman saw through it, but everyone else is still under the influence of Scarecrow, and he's trying to stop it and, you know, break his hold on the city. The interesting thing is, though, is Scarecrow is using the fear toxin to give people euphoric feeling, or like their deepest desires, that everything's perfect, which is something that he's never used it for before. The last page of this issue is awesome because we're including some people that I was hoping would be integrated more into the Bat family that we'd be seeing. That's all I can really say. Give it away. Teams up with Poison Ivy in this because she's immune, as we saw in the teaser for this storyline, that she's saying nothing's right. It's because it doesn't affect her, because her whole body is toxins. And Scarecrow, sorry, you're not that good. But yeah, I actually really like this. I enjoyed Layman's run, but before that, I felt like Detective Comics was kind of all over the place, and I feel like this is a really good story to kind of ground the villains we'll be seeing and everything else we'll be seeing once Layman is completely off this book. But I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. I suggest you check it out.
All right, guys, so I got to read Loki, Agent of Asgard, #1. Now, I'm a little behind on Young Avengers, which I know he was a part of that team, and I'm kind of just behind on what Loki's been up to recently, but I'm on a huge Thor kick, so I figured, what the hell, might as well read about his brother, right? So he's like an agent for Asgard, given tasked by the All-Mother, which is like Gaia, Freya, and some other chick, and they tell him to go do stuff, and he has like, it's kind of like James Bondy, like, oh man, I got cool like gadgets and stuff. I should say more like Nick Fury or Captain America or something like that, but they're all magical based, and like it's a cool concept. I would really like where that's going, and like how it ends. The last page was like, what are you doing? Why? What's going on? I don't understand this. Like, I kind of understand it, but like I want to know what they do with it. It's not huge, but I don't want to say it because it's kind of big for the story. So check it out and let me know what you think about this crazy shocker at the end. But overall, the book itself, I'm really unsure how to feel about it, because I'm a fan of Loki. I think he's cool. I loved when they turned him into a woman, and when they turned him into a child was even cooler, because it was like, oh, what? You're a kid. Now he's like a teenager, and he's like trying to be super sexy all the time, and it's just weird to me. Like, I don't get it. I don't get making him like a hot idol because he's a bad guy. He's always been a bad guy, and like he's trying to redeem himself in this whole story. It seems it's not gonna work. So I'm already calling that right now. It was a decent issue, so I'm gonna give it 3.5 Nerd Skulls. Let me know what you guys think, though. I really want to hear your thoughts. I don't know how to feel about the rest of this.
So I also got to read one of my favorite new books from Image, Lazarus #6. Huge fan of this book. I think Greg Rucka is doing a fantastic job. I love the story. We're focused now on Eve, the Lazarus for the Carlisle family, and we see sort of a flashback, but it's more of a history of Eve, and as she was growing up, her training, and that it was basically psychologically brutal as well as physically brutal in getting her to the point of she is the ultimate badass. And it's sad because she's a child, and basically she's asking, why isn't my family around? Why does Dad only visit me and then make me feel bad? And why do I never see my mom or the twins or anything like that? It's sad. She's a kid. So then we get back to the present, and we see that on the phone, back again, you're not a part of the family, which again is even just as sad, because here is this woman who has dedicated her life to protecting this family, and somebody, I'm assuming within the family, is messing with her. You're not a part of the family, which could be true or could not be, but she needs that. That's her emotional center. But as we get more into what's going on with the Carlisle family, we saw the devastation hit some of the serfs last time, and now we see sort of the real life, the sort of the 99% and what's going on with them, in that this devastation that occurred, they have to pay for it, and they pay for it by being more in debt to the Carlisle family, and it's a crappy situation, and basically their choices lead to desperation. So we see how that works, and it sucks, it really does. And on the flip side, we see Forever sort of, I think she's making a bond here with the serfs, normal humanity, because she visits one of the facilities and catches a group of no-good doers doing just that, and it looks like she's going to have some sympathy. It looks like she's going to find out more, dig deeper, and I'm assuming it's going to lead to some crazy crap that she's going to find out about the family, which is going to be hard for her. So I'm really excited about this book. I love this storyline. I'm going to go ahead and give this one 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, I got to read Earth 2, number 20. I love this book, and I love Aquawoman. What they do with her in this issue is absolutely awesome. It's this is the perfect kind of Elseworld story. This is something that I would have expected them to come out with in a 12-issue crazy series a while back. You know, obviously put a lot more into it in a small amount of time. But I like where this is going. I really like the use of the characters. I like just the idea of a universe of characters that we know, but having them with just different backgrounds and different stories. The other Kryptonian is finally brought into the light in this issue, metaphorically and physically. And I'm interested to see where this goes now that Superman is Darkseid's minion and just decimating the earth and knocking down cathedrals and anything religious that, like, that's what he does in this issue, is he sends them all out and knock down anything that worships anything that's not Darkseid. They're turning Earth into, you know, the new apocalypse. And I like this book. I can't say enough good things about it. I have from the beginning, and I can't wait to see I want to see more history. That's it's kind of what I'm hoping we get with, because Aquawoman's really featured in this. I want to see if there was an Aquaman, what happened, where we're at, you know, what happened to him, and what Atlantis is like. So yeah, I love this book. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Let me know what you thought.
All right, guys, so I got to read the Star Wars number 5. And I mean, it's starting to get to the point where it's kind of matching up with Star Wars as we know it. Not completely. Obviously, there's different characters, different like themes, different stuff going on lore-wise. So it's not the same. But like we see the Coruscant cruiser, the Corvette, which is pretty sweet, and it almost seems like that's like right before the first movie starts is where it's about to be. So it's interesting just to kind of see, like, compare the stories and how it evolved over time. But it wasn't developed all the way, you know, back forever ago. So it's not like people are improving on something that was like pretty decent to begin with. It's like someone just making up dialogue for something, and it was like, she's in love with me and I'm in love with her. Like, just, I mean, I get it. It sounds totally real because people don't speak so eloquently constantly, but still. It just felt weird, and certain things feel weird about it, where it's kind of like trying to reach for something that's not there, but I don't know. It had some pretty exciting like action sequences and stuff like that, but it's kind of getting, I don't know. I feel like more talent needs to be injected into this book. But either way, I'm enjoying it, so I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
So definitely one of my favorite books from Valiant Comics, Archer and Armstrong. And they went back and did the Zero thing again, which if you've heard me in the past say, I hate when they do that, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm about to change my mind because I've read several of theirs specifically, and they've all been fantastic. So in this one, we get to see Archer and how he became Archer. And similar to what I said in my review about Lazarus, it sucks. He was kidnapped, brainwashed. He was taken to a place called the nursery, and an awful woman named Gamma was taking care of him. But because he showed signs of just amazing power, he was ripped out of there, and that's where he ended up in Cincinnati, Ohio, which, me being from Ohio, we like to say Cincinnati's in Kentucky. But in Cincinnati, Ohio, and got even brainwashed further with the sect. And it's awful to see it from this perspective. I mean, they not only brainwashed him, but just psychologically tortured him so he would show his powers and lash out and become what we see now as Archer. And it sucks, but we do get to see some of the development with him and his relationship with Mary Maria, which is really cool. And we get to see his why he hates the sect so bad, and why he was willing to sort of shift and understand Armstrong. And that's really cool how they are able to team up. The last panel, I'm not going to give it away. We touched on it the last book on this, how Archer and Armstrong was going to become more of the Valiant universe and how some of the other comic characters would come into it. We see that. It's fantastic. I cannot wait to see where this story goes. Archer and Armstrong number 0 is going to get 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.